It's a loss that some families never get over. The abrupt reality of suicide is often just too much grief to bear. 6 months ago, I did a report on something new for the Valley, Columbiana County's loss team. Well, this morning, here is an update on how the volunteer group is getting the word out.
That topic as well, to kind of bring it all together.
Jamie Jones is a new Waterford paramedic on a mission. She's leading this training session with police, fire, and EMTs to spread the word about Columbiana County's loss team. The goal is to help those left behind after a suicide.
It was a eye-opening for me as well on what needs to be done for these families, because a lot of times by the time that we load and go in the squads, they're left there with questions and scared and confusion. The loss team comes in and helps them with that.
I first introduced you to Jamie and 2 other loss volunteers last October. Right now there are 15 of them, some clergy, some are suicide survivors themselves, and they serve as a rapid response team for families immediately after death.
They don't push themselves upon the family. They make themselves available to the family. So they give them the ways to access professional help if they need it, or if they just need somebody just to talk to.
And without a group like loss, research shows it can take survivors 4 to 6 years to seek help. Now, Jamie was the first and only paramedic involved in the loss team from the very beginning. They're hoping after this training session, they'll get more paramedics interested and involved. But if nothing else, there'll be information inside every rig in the county so that these families have someplace to start.
Again, this is a lot of their different phone numbers that they can get for information, for support.
Jamie shows me the folder that even includes a coloring book, because sometimes small children have to make sense of it all too. Spring, surprisingly, is the time of year the suicide rate in the valley tends to spike.
Spring is always a very difficult time, so starting in March, it seems to go from March to June. In our area, that's when we seem to notice the highest rates of suicide.
Kathy says the reason, when winter blues end for some, for others the depression does not lift. Last year, Columbiana County had 23 confirmed suicides, and in 8 of those, the loss team was called. Kathy insists these volunteers make a difference.
I think every county could benefit from having a loss team, especially because we know it takes 5 to 7 years for a family member who is suffering the loss of a suicide to begin to work through that trauma. And so we know that's a long time for people to be hurting.
Now, in Columbiana County, the Mental Health Board basically organizes the loss team. They do some of the training for the volunteers, but it doesn't cost anything to do this. So it's very possible for this to spread over into Mahoning and Trumbull County as well.
And it's great that those people agree to volunteer their time and resources like that to help others. All right, thanks, Amy.